Thank you, Peter. Hi, everyone. My name is Arghavan, and I'm part of the EC3 Modeling and Standard Committee. You heard a short pitch earlier today. This is our group, and you see that we are from different countries, and we have different projects. So the project that I'm going to represent is part of the committee work of the EC3, but also just myself, Marzia, and Goran. I invite you again to our committee meeting later today, but also we have a paper tomorrow at the same time, which you will hear something about it in my presentation today, and a technical workshop. So please join our sessions. And I'd like to mention something. Karim, Nicola, and are sitting on the back. They are our team members. Also, Jose, you can raise your hand so you can know who are our committee members. And the work that I'm going to represent also has some elements from Connor that is sitting next to Karim. Okay. So about 4 years ago, we started this project. It's BIM Standards Landscape Explorer. The idea was that how we can make BIM standards understandable for others. And we have different tabs. So for example, if you search for a specific standard, you will see the information. Then you go to the next tab, you see that we have different roles with different priorities for each standard. It's a way to, for others to understand which standard they can choose, because they're quite expensive to buy and they're very difficult to understand. So other tabs include phases that you can see. It's based on a REBA plan of work. Then this is the most important one for today's presentation. We have analyzed how each standard is relevant to which topic, and there are about 20 granular topics. This is our most, let's say, complex page, because you can see the relationship between role, phase, topic. Then we analyze how different standards are related to each other through normative links, which means that the standard is in the text of the other standard, or bibliometric, which is informative. The other dashboard is about how BIM standards are connected to other domains, for example, GIS, facility management, and so on. And lastly, this is one of our apparently popular page, which explains the chronology for how BIM standards are developed. And finally, this is one of our sponsors that helped us to keep this project open. You all have access to this project. It's in link, and I think that there are some QR codes later, so please feel free to use it. But one important thing, so while we did that project and it's already published, we noticed a couple of things. So personally, when I heard, for example, Ines talked about legacy project, I thought about a data set from 1980s. But in fact, our data set is already turning into a legacy project. And that's the motivation for this presentation today, because the dashboard looks really nice. It's very helpful, especially if you're a beginner to BIM world and BIM standards. But then everything is an Excel file, which is not very scalable and not very helpful. The other thing is that every sheet has its own standalone data, which means that our data set is not very well connected. And queries are one-directional right now. So if you are interested to understand which, let's say, the role of contractor is relevant to which standards, you can do that, but the other direction is not possible. You cannot see which standard, let's say, is relevant to which roles. We also use Power BI. If you have experience with Power BI, you know that you can do more, let's say, database management there. But then that made it even more complex, because 4 people in our 10 people group understand the Excel file, and out of that, 2 people understand this Power BI, which means that if someone leaves our team, it's our whole data set is going to kind of like disappear, which is very not scalable and very not sustainable, which made us think, okay, we need to have a better database management and better data management. And this is one of the motivations behind this project, because this is not going to be a very technical talk. It's more about the vision and impact that we like to have through this process that we're experiencing and developing. Then one of our motivations and being part of the EC3 and a committee is that we want to make our data available. Basically, it's already available, but you have to go through our interface to interact with the data. And we want you to be able to access our data without our supervision. And we want this data to be machine-readable, quarriable, and accessible for everyone, which was one of the reasons behind what I'm going to show. As I mentioned, we have another new platform that helps people to find different ontologies. So it's on the your left. And the platform that we were discussing so far was about the project BIM Standard Landscape Explorer. One thing that was our other motivation was that when we started this new project, we started to compile if an ontology is describing a standard and has explicitly explained it. This is like something that is not yet reflected, but it's in our, let's say, pipeline to do. And when we did that, it inspired us. Okay, we have like a very interesting data set of standards, and we have this new project about ontologies, and some of them are referring to certain BIM standards, and how we can connect these two data sets. So to do this, we decided to start use this data management as an excuse, and also try to bridge two of our projects. But more importantly, especially for me, is that we noticed that there are some ontologies that explicitly discuss the procedural and operational part of the BIM standards. And they are often locked into these very nice ontologies and papers, and most people don't know how to use them or why to use them. And the idea was that, okay, we have these ontologies, they're about different BIM standards. How can we help people to arrive to an operational interoperability, through, for example, the vision is that if we have a standard, let's say, let's refer to Alex. Alex was having an ontology about a fire that was in a standard, and you want to query if, for example, I have this word fire compartment, you want to query which standard is relevant to that. And in this context, for example, later example is data dictionaries, and you want to see which ISO standard or SEN standard is relevant to data dictionaries, and if there is an ontology for that. With that said, the next motivation, which is a new trend in Industry 4.0, but also inspired by e-governance and also European Commission direction, is what is called SMART standards, that stand for standards, machine-readable, machine-applicable, readable, and transferable. We had a little bit of internal discussion about where we are with these different levels. So the fourth level is where the text of the standard is actually machine understandable, which I think the ontologies that we showed are doing that, so it's not our part, but our interest in EC3 M&S committee is to at least arrive to enable, let's say, the level 3, which is a machine-readable content. In essence, what I said, so you want the, let's say, partially the text and metadata of the standards to be available in a machine-understandable way. So to this vision, we decided that we need to make everything in a linked data approach and ontological modeling. This is no-brainer, so we used Ontology 101. We didn't really go through all the steps, but of course, our scope was very fixed. We want to be able to discuss if a standard and ontology and the metadata of them are connected. We mapped certain competency questions. It starts from basic, complex, and cross-domain. So the basics one are basically what you already do in the platform that we have. But when we are making this, when you have a better database and especially a knowledge graph, then you're able to ask more complex questions. Okay, I don't have a pointer, but more complex questions like, for example, if one standard and another standard are connected to each other, and what's the type of the relationship? Or, for example, which ontologies are related to topic Y that is also related to a standard X, and so on. So we try to create these different competency questions, and based on that, we try to develop an ontology. We really try to reuse what exists. If you search ontologies about the standards, the first one pops up. But we were quite unsuccessful in actually reusing them. That's because the, let's say, use case that we had was very specific. With these ontologies, you're very good to describe a certain publication in so many details, but then they are not good to explain how different standards are related to each other and so on. So this was one of the limitations of our study. We did several iterations of conceptual modeling and also tried to turn our Excel file to this ontology, which we finally made it. We tried to reuse as much as possible. There are certain small classes that we added, but it works now, and it's in this link. We tried to create all the queries that you saw for the competency questions. We tried to create queries for them. It's in our GitHub file. For example, you can now find, if there is an ontology for a certain topic, then you will be able to find it. As I said, this is more of a vision. So the future work is that make our data available. We tried to also create a new tab in Power BI with a SparkQL endpoint, which was very difficult, and we didn't manage in the end. So that's what we like to do in the next year. And we want to connect these two different data sets and make everything available over the web. If you are particularly interested to continue in these three directions, our committee is open for a new member. With that, I will say thank you.